Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? I want to talk about a technique I've been using lately that I've been really pleased with, and I'd like to hear your input on this. Like, what have you done like this? Because I'm sure a lot of you have. Now, one of the cool things about role-playing games is we get to be very collaborative. And, back in the day, we didn't have much of a session zero. It was pretty much like, hey, there's a game at Todd's house on Saturday. Can you make it? Yeah, cool. What do you guys need? Well, we need a cleric. All right, I'll roll up a cleric. And that was our session zero. As time went on, we started to pitch campaign ideas to each other. So it was like, okay, well, this is what this campaign is going to be about. Are you interested? Yes, I'm in. No, I'm not in. And at some point, we started saying things like, hey, could we introduce this element or that element into the game? And so we had a little bit more of give and take about like what this world is actually going to be like. We'd sit around at lunch and talk about various ideas too. So we kind of had session zeros to a certain extent. Now fast forward to now, and it can be very formalized. And I've had a lot more experiences lately in some games where we have had kind of a collaborative world-building exercise. And sometimes it's just like kicking around ideas, and sometimes it's a little bit more involved. And with some of these, I've been doing them with online groups, people I've never actually physically met. And that can present some challenges, but it can also actually give you some advantages because you start using technologies that you normally wouldn't have used. And to me, it gives makes things a lot more clear. It can also give you some records, so you misunderstand less and forget less. Now, when I was involved in the Lamentations of the Flame Princess game like 7 years ago that I've talked about ad nauseum, we used emails to kind of do recaps and talk about what our plans were next and our ideas and whatnot. So it was a little collaborative in that manner, and it was great. I still have all those emails back in my AOL account. I have a little folder for them, and I have to go back and read those sometimes. I'm sure there's some great gems in there. And that was really, really cool. The games I've been involved with lately online, we've had various different ways of communicating with each other. In the Lamentations in Prussia game, much to my dismay, we've only used Facebook Messenger, and it's this big long thread. And I just started a Facebook group for it now because I should have started it like a month ago, so we'd have a little bit more accessibility of this information because it's this big long conversation that the four of us have been having. But if I want to go back and find out something that we've been talking about 2 weeks ago that was a great idea, well, it's buried because we post a lot about all kinds of stuff, not just the game. So live and learn. The All for One Regime Diabolique game I was involved in, or still am involved in, we have a private Facebook group where we can talk about all kinds of stuff. Talk about ideas, post all kinds of files, a lot of file sharing in that in terms of like, what our character sheets are like, a lot of pictures, for flavor. We talk about like, the XP, like, where do we want to go next? What were our, interests? How is it going? A lot of discussion in that group, which is really, really cool. Very easy to navigate, I really like that. And also we've had the YouTube recaps, which has been awesome because you can go back and it's really kind of like a thing we decided to do to see see like how everybody was feeling about the game. And actually we have at least one viewer that made a recap, which is awesome. Our impressions about the campaign. I love to see somebody else do that because we're famous. However, I'm going to be playing in a game called The Veil, and this is a cyberpunk game. It came out like I think this last January. It was when the Kickstarter had fulfillment, but I just got the game very recently. I have a couple friends who are interested in playing it, so like this is great. So we started a private Facebook group, and it is, like I said, powered by the apocalypse, cyberpunk. It is a game world which is very, very open, like it's cyberpunk, but it gives you a lot of leeway in terms of like what do you want the tropes, what do you want the feel to be like, what do you want the aesthetics to be like, what do you want the the characters to be like. It gives you some basic frameworks, which is kind of powered by the apocalypse anyway. However, the cool thing that we've been doing in this group lately is we have a private Facebook group again, which is great. So we have this record of what we're talking about. But we've been doing Facebook Live videos, which has been really, really cool because as we're talking to each other, sometimes you have this idea, you're typing it out, and it's just too long. And after a while, you just kind of truncate a little bit, put in some ideas. Maybe we'll talk to each other a little bit on Facebook Messenger here, but even then, it kind of gets lost. But we've been doing these videos, which have ranged in length from about 3 minutes to about maybe 15 minutes, because some of us are long-winded, not me. Well, yeah, but we've, and I found it to be really awesome because we're saying a lot more than we would have said in type. And it's made it very clear, like what each one of us is looking for, as we talk about the our character concepts, and we give each other feedback in the comments about the character concepts, or maybe we make a feedback video. and kind of riff off each other. That has been really, really cool. And not only are we able to kind of communicate a lot more, it's more like being around the table with people as we're kind of coming up with ideas and bouncing them off each other. We're not interrupting each other. We're having a monologue. We're getting all of our ideas out and then getting some feedback on that. But there's a record of it. Because I found, like, even in, around the table, live, face-to-face people, we can forget and misinterpret so much stuff and, never get back to it. Or, it seemed like a great idea at the time, but then we forgot. Here, it's all there. I can go back and watch this stuff. I can go, reference what we've written. We can, our OneNote document that we used in All for One Regime Data Leak that we're still using, it's still there. And, hopefully we get to use something like that in this game so we can all contribute to it. So it's this growing body of digital information that we can all access. I find that really, really cool. In fact, I'm really thinking of using that in face-to-face games in the future, because that just gives you so much more, much more of a record of what you're trying to do, and makes the lines of communication much clearer. It's essential in online gaming like Hangouts, because you need to use all the tools at your disposal to make things crystal clear and communicate well. But I think I might want to use that in some face-to-face gaming as well, because it's a really, really cool media and a great, I don't want to call it a crutch, but it's a tool to use. It's a great technique. So have you used anything like this, and what has your experience been? Tell me about it.